Willard Carroll Smith Jr. was born on September 25, 1968, in West Philadelphia. From a young age, Will stood out. Not just because he was smart, teachers called him the prince for his charm, but because he had an electric energy no one could ignore. His father, a tough but loving man, taught him discipline early. His mother, a school administrator, pushed for academic success. Will was smart enough to get a scholarship to a prestigious Catholic school, but books weren't his only focus. He loved rapping, joking, performing. He wasn't a troublemaker, but he knew how to push limits without crossing the line. It made him popular. It made him fearless. At just 16, Will teamed up with DJ Jeffrey Towns, better known as DJ Jazzy Jeff. They clicked instantly. Their style was clean, funny, and relatable, a sharp contrast to the hardcore rap scene taking over the streets. Together, they created a sound that parents didn't hate and kids loved. Their first album, Rock the House, dropped in 1987. It wasn't just good, it exploded. Suddenly, two kids from Philly were touring the country, appearing on TV, winning awards. In 1989, they snagged the very first Grammy for Best Rap Performance with Parents Just Don't Understand. Will Smith was rich, and young, and inexperienced with money. He spent fast, lived big, and trusted the wrong people to handle his finances. By the time he was 21, the IRS hit him with a massive bill. They took almost everything he owned. Will Smith, the teenage millionaire, was now broke and scared, but not beaten. When NBC came calling with a TV show idea based on his life, Will had two options: drown in debt or bet everything on himself. He chose the second. In 1990, Will Smith stepped onto a Hollywood set for the first time. He wasn't an actor. He wasn't trained. But The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air wasn't about technical skills, it was about presence. And Will had more of it than anyone in the room. At first, he was nervous. You could even see him mouthing other actors' lines during early episodes, terrified he'd forget his own. But week after week, he learned. Fast. His natural timing, charm, and street-smart humor made the show a runaway hit. The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air wasn't just a sitcom, it was a revolution. It tackled issues no other show dared to mix with comedy: racism, gun violence, absentee fathers. And it did it all without losing its heart. Will's character, part wisecracker, part emotional core, became the voice of a new generation of young Black America. He wasn't just acting, he was living. By the mid-1990s, Will Smith wasn't just a TV star, he was a movement. But he wasn't satisfied. He knew TV had a ceiling. If he wanted real power, real money, real influence, he had to conquer movies. Agents warned him it was risky. TV actors often failed in Hollywood. The transition was brutal. But Will wasn't scared of failure. He was scared of being stuck. So he made a list. He studied box office numbers. He analyzed hit movies. He wrote down what types of films made actors into superstars: aliens, action, comedy, heroes. His next move was no accident. It was calculated. It was dangerous. And it was about to change everything. In 1995, Will Smith made his first major movie move, Bad Boys. It wasn't a guaranteed hit. The budget was tight. The script was shaky. But Will and Martin Lawrence had chemistry that couldn't be faked. Their fast-talking, high-energy banter turned a basic action movie into a cult classic. Bad Boys smashed expectations, pulling in over $140 million worldwide. Will Smith had arrived in Hollywood, and he wasn't planning to leave. But Bad Boys was just the warm-up. The knockout punch came in 1996. Independence Day, a sci-fi disaster epic, dropped on July 4th weekend. The movie needed a hero that could be tough, funny, and relatable. Will delivered all three. When he punched an alien in the face and quipped, "Welcome to Earth," audiences lost their minds. The movie made $817 million. Overnight, Will Smith wasn't just a star, he was the star. Still, he didn't relax. He doubled down. He followed Independence Day with Men in Black in 1997. Again, he chose perfectly. Aliens, humor, action, it was his sweet spot. Men in Black made over $589 million and launched a franchise that cemented his place as Hollywood royalty. By the end of the 90s, Will Smith was a machine. 2 back-to-back blockbusters. Hit songs tied to his movies. A global fanbase stretching from New York to Tokyo. He wasn't just picking good scripts, he was creating a blueprint. Action, heart, laughs, relatability. Will Smith wasn't chasing trends, he was the trend. But deep down, Will wanted more than being the funny, charming action star. He wanted respect. He wanted to prove he could do serious. The next phase of his career would be the biggest risk yet. By the late 90s, Will Smith could have stayed safe. Big action movies. Big paychecks. Big smiles. But he wanted something more dangerous. Respect from critics, from Hollywood elites, from history. In 2001, he took his biggest gamble yet, starring as Muhammad Ali in Ali. It wasn't just a role, it was a transformation. Will packed a muscle, studied Ali's speech patterns, spent hours in the gym and in the ring. He didn't want to play Ali, he wanted to become him. When the movie hit theaters, critics were stunned. Will Smith, the Fresh Prince, the action hero, was gone. What stood there instead was an actor, a real one. He earned his first Oscar nomination for Best Actor. He didn't win. But something more important happened. Hollywood started looking at Will Smith differently. He kept pushing. In 2006, The Pursuit of Happiness dropped. It was raw, emotional, brutally honest. Will played Chris Gardner, a homeless single father fighting for a better life. This wasn't just acting, it was soul-bearing. Audiences cried. Critics praised. Another Oscar nomination followed. Now, Will Smith wasn't just a blockbuster star. He was an artist. But even as his dramatic career soared, he never abandoned his blockbuster roots. I Am Legend 2007, Hancock 2008, and 7 Pounds 2008 showed his range from post-apocalyptic survival to messy, emotional redemption arcs. Will could do it all. Carry billion-dollar franchises. Break hearts with a single scene. Make audiences laugh, cry, and cheer, sometimes in the same movie. He wasn't chasing Hollywood anymore. Hollywood was chasing him. But with that level of success, the cracks eventually started to show. By the 2010s, Will Smith had everything. Fame, money, a family dynasty in the making. But the more perfect the image, the heavier the cracks underneath. He started making riskier career moves, some hit, some missed badly. After Earth 2013, a sci-fi project starring him and his son Jaden, bombed critically and financially. People whispered, have Will lost his touch? Was The Fresh Prince getting stale? Meanwhile, public interest shifted toward his personal life. Rumors about his marriage to Jada Pinkett Smith exploded online. Whispers of open relationships, emotional separations, and quiet betrayals. Will, who once controlled his image so tightly, found it slipping from his hands. Still, he fought to adapt. In 2015, he earned praise for Concussion, playing a doctor who exposed the NFL's hidden dangers. In 2016, Suicide Squad brought him back into blockbuster territory, even though critics hated the movie. Will's charm remained bulletproof. He kept reinventing. A Bold, Blue Genie in Aladdin 2019, which grossed over $1 billion. Deeply personal projects like King Richard 2021, portraying Venus and Serena Williams' fiercely protective father. That performance earned Will his long-awaited Oscar. It should have been a crowning moment. Instead, everything imploded. At the 2022 Academy Awards, Will Smith walked onto the stage and slapped comedian Chris Rock after a joke about Jada. In seconds, decades of goodwill evaporated. Shock. Silence. A career, once bulletproof, suddenly felt fragile. He apologized publicly. He resigned from the Academy. Projects were paused. Endorsements wavered. The Fresh Prince, who built his empire on laughter, now faced the coldest spotlight of all, judgment. But if Will Smith's life has proven anything, it's this. He doesn't stay down for long. Behind the scandal, behind the headlines, behind the pain, still beats the heart of a fighter. Still beats the heart of a dreamer from West Philadelphia. And if there's one thing Will Smith knows how to do, it's reinvent himself. Again, and again, and again. Will Smith's story was never about being perfect. It was about refusing to quit. Every mistake, every failure, every public stumble, they're now part of his legend, not the end of it. Because real greatness isn't about never falling. It's about getting back up when the world's not sure you can. Today, Will Smith is rebuilding carefully, intentionally. He's choosing projects that matter. He's repairing relationships, both public and private. He's no longer chasing the spotlight. He's choosing where and when to step into it. His story is shifting from the Fresh Prince to something deeper. A man who lived through his own empire rising and falling. And still believes the best is yet to come. For Will Smith, the next act isn't about erasing the past. It's about owning it, learning from it, and proving, once again, that no setback, no scandal, no single moment defines a lifetime. The kid from West Philadelphia isn't done writing his story. He's just starting a brand new chapter.